All right, today we are diving deep into a phrase that, let's be honest, can feel a little too real sometimes. This whole idea that something expensive can literally cost you a piece of yourself. I mean, you know that feeling, right? You see the price tag on, I don't know, a new car, a college degree, even just a fancy dinner, and you feel this physical jolt. It's almost like your body is instantly trying to figure out which parts it can, do without. Oh yeah, we all say it. It's pretty much the universal expression for sticker shock. But have you ever stopped to think about where this kind of grizzly anatomical metaphor for being broke actually came from? And maybe more importantly, what can we do to avoid this kind of financial dismemberment in our own lives? Okay, so let's take a quick trip back in time, because the history of this phrase, it's surprisingly all over the place.
So there are really two leading theories here. The first one takes us all the way back to 18th century portrait painting. Apparently, if you wanted your arms and legs in the portrait, well, that literally cost you more. But the theory you hear most often, the one documented back in the 70s, ties it to post-World War II America. You had veterans who had literally sacrificed limbs for their country, and they came home to just soaring prices. So you can see how that metaphor became painfully real and just got cemented into our language.
So that's the history lesson. But what about right now? Today, where are the modern economic battlefields where we're all at risk of, well, losing our financial limbs?
Okay, first up, and this is a big one for so many of us, higher education. Let's be real. Getting a degree has become one of the most efficient limb harvesting operations in modern history. And the sheer scale of this problem is, well, it's staggering. Think about it. The average graduate walks away from college with over $37,000 in debt. They're basically starting their careers already feeling like they've had to give up a huge piece of their financial future before it's even had a chance to begin.
You see, it creates this really painful paradox, right? We're always told that education is the key to a better future, but the price tag, it demands a kind of financial contortionism that just feels almost impossible for so many.
All right, let's move on to the next major chopping block. Just putting a roof over our heads. The housing market. In so many places, this feels less like you're buying something and more like you're making a massive sacrifice to the real estate gods.
And you know what? I think this quote from a recent home buyer just says it all. The cost of owning a home has gotten so extreme, it feels like you have to give up, basic human functions just to make that monthly payment.
And finally, we have to talk about maybe the most ironic arena of all, healthcare. I mean, the very system that's designed to keep your body intact is often the one demanding that figurative arm and a leg in payment. It's wild.
And when you look at the numbers, the comparison is just stark. Here in the US, the spending on healthcare per person is roughly double what it is in other developed nations. Just think about that. Paying twice as much, that puts an absolutely incredible strain on people's finances. And this really just cuts right to the heart of the problem. The financial burden can start to feel like an illness all on its own, making the whole path to getting and staying well even more complicated. Okay. So things are expensive. We get it. That's the problem. But what's the solution, right? How do we actually navigate this world without having to perform, emergency financial amputations every other month? Well, here are 6 battle-tested strategies to help keep yourself financially intact. First, try the 24-hour rule. Just institute a mandatory waiting period on big purchases to stop those impulse dismemberments. Second, calculate things in hours. How many hours of your life does that thing cost? It really puts it in perspective. Third, seek out what we're calling arm-friendly alternatives. Refurbished stuff, previous year's models. Fourth, and I love this one, just normalize limb conservation. Seriously, tell your friends, hey, I'm keeping all my appendages this year. Fifth, create a prosthetic fund. Basically, just save up in advance for those necessary large expenses. And finally, number 6, develop FOMO immunity. You have to recognize when you're buying something just to impress people, not to actually make your life better. Because so much of our most expensive spending is driven by trying to keep up. But have you ever wondered why high prices feel so physically painful? It's not just in your head, and it's not just about the numbers on the screen. There's actually a deep psychological reason for it. And this is where it gets really, really fascinating. Scientists have done brain scans, and they found that the pain of losing money, it lights up the exact same neural pathways as actual physical pain. So when you say a price hurts, you're not just being dramatic. Your brain is literally processing it as an injury.
And this, of course, leads to that internal battle, doesn't it? We all know this feeling. It's this constant negotiation going on in our heads. You've got the protective parent side saying, do I really need this?
And then you've got the wheedling child side going, but everyone else has one, or you only live once. And just understanding that this conflict is happening inside you, that's the first step to actually getting a handle on it.
So the big takeaway here, the really powerful reframe, isn't that you should avoid all expensive purchases forever. No, it's about recognizing that your resources, your money, your energy, they exist to serve your values. The goal is to make sure that your financial sacrifices, your arms and legs, are being traded for things that genuinely make your life better, not just things that impress someone else for a fleeting moment.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. If you could preserve all your appendages for, say, the next 5 years, if you made a conscious choice to stay financially whole, what kind of complete financial being might you become? What could you actually achieve? Because keeping yourself financially intact isn't just smart. In the world we live in today, it is an absolutely revolutionary act of self-respect.